Shalom, brothers and sisters. This is your brother Yahweh Sabah. I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Peace, salutations to the hopeful elect scattered about across the four corners of the earth, learning and teaching this gospel with truth and sincerity, waiting on the second coming of our Lord and Savior, Yahweh Shai, Mashiach, Shalom. Today I want to go over more into this virgin birth myth that these Christians and Catholics push out. We know truly that virgin means a young woman of marriageable age. So we're going to get back into it. We call this a part 2 because I've done part 1 already. This one I just, Yahweh Radazal, this is quick and edifying, straight to the point. Because, in the scriptures when they're saying Yahweh Shai, he's just the carpenter's son. When you read about that in the book of Matthew, quoting from that, it was those neighbors, from that town he grew up in, Yahweh Shai, he was presented as the Son of God. When that happened, he came to them and was presented to them as the Messiah, and people in that town, they knew his father and mother and his brothers and sisters, knowing that Yahweh Shai had brothers and sisters, and that proves this false doctrine that Mary was a perpetual virgin. That doctrine came from Roman Catholic Church, and it went down, after from them to the Protestants, Protestant. Salakia, I don't know how to say it that well. My tongue's getting twisted on it. The Protestants, that's how you say it. Salakia. I call Yahweh Shai Shot 144. But they hold that doctrine, and it came from the Catholics. It's all worship the Queen of Heaven. It goes into that, Ceramus, who had Tammuz, which means the sprout of life. That's their form of Jesus, that they worship, that's their God. They're not worshiping the true sons. It's like, they're not worshiping the true son of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, the true son of God. They're not worshiping the true son of God. Khan, you got to worship Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, the true son of Yahweh. So he came through the loins and lineage of David. Yahweh Shai did. So they're worshiping this type of creation. It's all coming from like this Catholic Church, which goes back to Constantine. He created these myths, that go to this Babylonian Egyptian falsehood, to appease to the pagans. And Constantine, he goes back to that Christianity, as well. What he formed, that Christianity, it's all a false doctrine. His form of Christianity, yes. So this doctrine, that's where it comes from, and that they push that Mary was a perpetual virgin. And I did a video on this not too long ago, like I was saying, but I just want to get back more into it, for edification's sake, because the true virgin birth breakdown, it says ultimately, Mary's birth, because that doctrine on it, it's ultimately the worship of Queen of Heaven, or who's Ceramus, as well, was a forever virgin as they push. So that's that type of doctrine that they're pushing, when they push that it was a virgin birth, because Ceramus was pushed as that too, a forever virgin, so you link that to the Mary, then that's what they link it to. So come, let's get into it, get to scriptures, to back that up. This is Psalms, it's Psalms 69, a prophecy of Yahweh Shai, in the spirit, so let's get this real quick. We could prove that, though, that it's prophecy of Yahweh Shai, because it's verse 21. They gave me a gall for my meat, and in my thirst they gave me vinegar to drink. And when you link that, just to get the cross-reference, because you can link it to Matthew chapter 27, verse 34. They gave him vinegar to drink, mingled with gall, and when he tasted thereof, he would not drink. So this is a proving that it was a prophecy of Yahweh Shai. So let's get back to where verse. I'm gonna get verse Verse 8. And I became a stranger unto my brethren, and an alien unto my mother's children. So you see right here, T2, it says, even my own brothers pretend they don't know me, and they treat me like a stranger. So it goes in to prove that Mary had other children. In Matthew 1, it also goes into that as well. It says that he was she brought forth her firstborn son. Because it tells you right there that because like you would have to know right there, that the firstborn son, that it would say my only son, because that proves it right there. It would have said my only child. She would bring forth her only son, is what it would say, is what I'm getting at. It wouldn't say, that right there, that I brought forth my firstborn son. So, Yahushua, he was known as the firstborn son. So he was that firstborn. That means that there would be a second as well. As we read in the scriptures, it tells you he had brothers and sisters. So some believed on him and some didn't. So let's just read this again. And I am become a stranger unto my brethren, and an alien unto my mother's children. Because Mary had other children. It's plain simple. So we could prove that, in John chapter 7, verse 5. For neither did his brethren believe in him. So this is proof right here. Let's get this in NLT. For even his brothers didn't believe in him. A lot of his brothers didn't believe in him. So two of his brothers were disciples, James and Jude. Those were Yahushua's brothers. I said this before in the previous lesson. And we're not talking about Judas Iscariot right here. We're talking about Jude, the one who wrote the book of Jude. You read Jude chapter 1 and 1. Jude, the servant of Yahushua Mashiach, and brother of James, and to them that are sanctified by God and Father, and preserved in Yahushua Mashiach, and called. So you line that up in Galatians 1 and 19. And then right here, Galatians 1:19. But I'll read 18. Then, this is Paul speaking. Then after 3 years I went up to Jerusalem to see Peter, and abode with him 15 days. But other of the apostles saw I none, save James, the Lord's brother. So Jude, he told you he was the brother of James, and James the Lord's brother. So you can see that they were James and Jude. Those were Yahushua's brothers. So Khan, and right there, in this verse 19, he calls James his brother. Paul did. So James and Jude are the Lord's brothers. So you come and get back to Psalms. Just wanted to prove that real quick. This is Psalms chapter 69, verse 8. I am become a stranger unto my brethren, and an alien unto my mother's children. This right here, it's just showing you, like I said, Mary had other children. And then when we get to Luke chapter 2, verse 48. And when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said unto him, Son, why hast thou thus dealt with us? Behold, thy father and I have sought thee sorrowing. So Mary is calling Joseph the father of Yahushua, his biological father. Showing you that he came, from a seed, man. Yahushua did. So come. Let's get Luke chapter 1, verse 26. Yahushua's birth foretold. And in the 6th month, so this is the Messiah's birth being foretold to Mary by an angel. Verse 26, and in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from God unto a city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph, to the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary. Yeah, so I've got into this before in my last lesson, but I just usually got to get into this again, because just for edification's sake to flow with the lesson. Christians try to use this, this account right here to say that she was an everlasting virgin, saying that she knew not a man. So we're gonna get into this, get into it again, like I'm saying, because yes, because there was a point where Joseph and Mary were betrothed. That means engaged, and they skipped the custom of the Jews, what they had. Like to have a wedding feast and be presented to the community and to consummate the marriage. That was the order. And a lot of times things weren't done 100% to the order. To the customs. So come, we're gonna continue on. Verse 26, I'll start at 26 again. And in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from God unto a city of Galilee named Nazareth. Yeah, because this is where Yahushua grew up. He was born in Bethlehem, but due to the persecution, that Herod had sent forth, his father had got that dream, from the angel. And he told Joseph, to in Matthew chapter 2, to flee. And they went to Egypt, and then they ended up in Nazareth, and that's where he grew up. So come verse 27, to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary. So espoused, which means engaged. She was a literal virgin at the time, but according to prophecy, it means that virgin, like I said in the beginning of this lesson, is a young woman of marriageable age. So it's letting you know that he was of the house of David, that Joseph was, and it states that because it fulfills the prophecy that was told to David. So let's get that. This is a book of Psalms, chapter 132, start at 10. For thy servant David's sake, turn not away the face of thine anointed. Yahweh had sworn in truth unto David, he will not turn from it. Of the fruit of thy body will I set up thy throne. Yeah, so it was an oath made to David, man. This is what it was, and because this was that immediately, that was Solomon, but the one to come, that was going to rule forever, that's Yahushua, who will sit on the throne of David for Ewilam, which means forever in Hebrew, in the kingdom of heaven, which is going to be on earth, and let's get that fruit in the of the fruit produce fruit, offspring, children, progeny of womb, fruit, offspring. He's the offspring of David, as he says in Revelation 22. Yahweh Razah, we're going to get that as well. And you could link this too with the right here with 2 Samuel chapter 7 and verse 12. And when thy days be fulfilled, thou shalt sleep with thy fathers. I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. So we know this is Nathan speaking to David, and the boughs, the fruit, which, the boughs, that's that fruit, man, like what we just read in the Psalms 132, what I just brought up in the Greek, of David's body. Yes, so come. Because when I got into that fruit, that's that offspring. So when let's line it up right here with Romans chapter 1 and verse 3, concerning his son Yahushua Mashiach our Lord, which was made of the seed of David according to the flesh. So you made of the seed of David according to the flesh. So let's get that in the NLT. The good news about his son in his earthly life, he came in this earthly life. He was born into King David's family line. So Khan, let's get back into Luke now. It's Luke. 27, to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph of the house of David, and the virgin's name was Mary. So you come, I'm gonna continue reading. And the angel came in unto her and said, Hail, thou art Sakia, though that art highly favored, the Lord is with thee, blessed art thou among women. And yet, ultimately, she was blessed because she is the woman to fulfill this prophecy. Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 14. Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. So this shows that word virgin, virgin. This is Strong's G H Salakia H 5959, not Strong's G Salakia.
Strong's H 5959.
It's Strong's H 5959. Alma. So Khan, right here is showing you a virgin young woman of marriageable age, and then that's what this was, and that's all it's talking about. It's just, so that virgin, a lot of people, that they get this translation wrong, and it shows you this. A lot of articles where people are exposing that this was a mistranslation. So people are catching on nowadays. In these last days, Yahweh Radazah, they come to the truth and get baptized in water in the name of Yahweh Shai Mashiach for remission of sins. But I just wanted to show that that there's a lot of articles that are pushing that are exposing this false doctrine of the virgin birth, because the way it's these people interpret it, it's a mistranslation. It simply means she's a virgin young woman of marriageable age, and that's it. So this is all part of because she wasn't a perpetual virgin, and that's what people push. So Khan, she was the one to conceive the seed and give the birth to Yahweh Shai, the birth, which is Yahweh Shai, give that birth to Yahweh Shai, like I'm saying. So Khan, we'll continue on back to Luke chapter 1, verse 28. And the angel came in unto her and said, Hail, thou art highly favored, the Lord is with thee, blessed art thou among women. So that ultimately, this means that that she's like I said, that she's blessed, because she's the one to fulfill the prophecy, man. Like I just explained, and him coming, he came in unto her. That doesn't mean that he slept with her, that he put sperm in her. And we're gonna prove that, and I could prove it right here, in the NLT. Gabriel appeared to her and said, the angel Gabriel, greetings, favored woman, the Lord is with you. He appeared to her. That's not putting a sperm in her. Okay, so we continue on. And when she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, and cast in her mind what manner of salutation this should be. Verse 30, and the angel said unto her, Fear not, Mary, for thou hast found favor with God. And behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb and bring forth a son, and shalt call his name Yahweh. So this is meaning in the future you shall conceive, and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Yahweh, the anointed one, the Messiah. Verse 32, and he shall be great, and shall be called the Son of the Highest. The Lord God shall give unto him the throne of his father David. He is the son of Yahweh, but he had to come in the earthly sense, of his loins and lineage of David, of the loins and lineage of David. So Khan, verse 33, and he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. So this is the same thing that Nathan told David. This was that child that would fulfill this through his sacrifice, man. So verse 34, Salakia. Then said Mary unto the angel, How shall this be, seeing I know not a man? Let's get that in the NLT. Mary asked the angel, but how can this happen? I am a virgin. She was espoused, engaged, like I said, earlier, to Joseph at this time. So let's read verse 35. And the angel answered and said unto her, the Holy Ghost shall come upon thee, and the power of the highest shall overshadow thee. Therefore also that holy thing which shall be born of thee shall be called the Son of God. Because it was in the future, she was going to lay with Joseph, conceive a seed according to the law, and have Yahweh Shai. Because this was all guided through the Holy Spirit, this situation. And when you read in Matthew, Joseph was upset because he broke that protocol, but it was all good because Yahweh was with them. I'm used to saying Yahweh Shai, but Yahweh was with them to guide for Yahweh Shai, to be born. Because it was all going to be fulfilled, that it was going to bring forth that child who was the sacrifice for the elect of Israel, and of course that great multitude, but starting with the elect. So let's get this precept in the book of, get this in Salakia, bear with me, I'm trying to find it right there. Galatians chapter 4. Verse 4, but when the fullness of the time was come, God sent forth his son, made of a woman, made under the law. Yes, so this shuts down, that doctrine, man, that Mary was a perpetual virgin. Yahweh Shai, he's telling you right there, he was made of a woman under the law. Because Yahweh Shai, he came from the loins and lineage of David. The word was made flesh as well, as the scriptures say. Khan, he was here in the flesh, like I'm saying. Let's back this up right here, that God sent forth his son, made of a woman under the law. Let's prove that. This is Leviticus chapter 12. I'm gonna start from the top. And the Lord and Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, if a woman have conceived seed, the laws of motherhood, it shows you right there, Luke 22-24. Let's get it though. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, if a woman have conceived seed and born of man-child, then shall be unclean 7 days, according to the days of the separation of her infirmity shall she be unclean. Salakia. And in the 8th day, the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised, and she shall then continue in the blood of her purifying 33 days. She shall touch no hollow thing, nor come into the sanctuary until the days of her purifying be fulfilled. So calm. It's getting into it right now. That when you go to show right there that Yahweh Shai fulfilled the law, because he was circumcised on the 8th day. And he was that perfect one, according to the law of Moses. We preach that. The scriptures say, he never sinned with no guile in his mouth. And the Christians even say he was perfect in the law. So his birth would have to be fulfilled in the law as well, God, because you gotta prove all things, and this is proving it. So, Leviticus chapter 12, 1-4, proves it right there. So, let's continue on in the book of Luke. I'm gonna go down to verse 21 to prove this. And when 8 days were accomplished for the circumcising of the child, his name was called Yahweh Shai, which was so named of the angel before he was conceived in the womb. And when the days of her purification, according to the law of Moses, were accomplished, they brought him to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord. Yes, so come, let's get that word conceived. So this word conceived, to seize, to conceive of a woman, metaphor of lust, who impulses a man indulges. Yeah, because, that's what happened. Joseph, he was lusting and indulged with her. That's all part of prophecy too. He took her, he can So she was able to conceive, to lay a hand up, to lay hold of. Let's get that conceive in the etymology. Conceive in etymology, take seed into the womb, become pregnant. Yes, so Khan is just showing you right there, because that's just showing you that's how it happens, because I showed you in my last lesson as well, that conceive, it means to show that she's pregnant, because even when Rebecca, she conceived, in the Bible it says she conceived, because when that sperm gets to the egg, they conceive. That's how a woman in the Bible explains them being pregnant. So that's why this etymology, like I said, to take seed into the womb to become pregnant, that's how the egg takes hold of the seed, and then boom, that's that pregnancy once that seed gets into the egg. Conceive definition, like I did in the last virgin birth lesson, to become pregnant with the child, and then boom, let's go right here with the I didn't even get that one. To the Spirit, Isaiah chapter 7 verse 14, shall conceive, boom, become pregnant. So we see right here, just line upon line, precept upon precept, showing you that she became pregnant, man. So let's continue on, and like I said, when I read Leviticus 12, it brought out this Luke 2:22. I showed it. So Luke 2:22, and when the days of her purification according to the law of Moses were accomplished, they brought him to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord. I'll read 21 again. And when the 8 days were accomplished for the circumcising of the child, his name was called Yahushai, which was so named of the angel before he was conceived in the womb. So it's letting you know that name, was given to Mary before the child was conceived, before she was pregnant in the womb. Before the seed was conceived in the womb. That's what it's getting at. Everything was done also, like how I read, in the verse 22, and when the days of her purification according to the law of Moses were accomplished, they brought him to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord. Everything was done pursuing to the law of Moses, man. That's why he was circumcised on the 8th day, like how I just read in verse 21. And then, when I, this verse 22, like that's why I said this was in Leviticus 12 when I brought it out. And when the days of her purification according to the law of Moses were accomplished, they brought him to Jerusalem to present him to the Lord. Let's get that in the cross reference. Leviticus 12. So speak to the children of Israel, saying, if a woman have conceived seed and born a man child, then she shall be unclean 7 days, according to the days of the separation for her infirmity shall she be unclean. And in the 8th day the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised, and she shall then continue in the blood of her purifying 33 days. She shall touch no hollow thing, nor come into the sanctuary until the days of her purifying be fulfilled. So Khan, right there, it's letting you know. So Mary had to go through this purification period because she conceived a seed from the loins and lineage of David, the Messiah, Yahushai. So Khan, let's get to this Matthew 1:1. The book of the generation of Yahushua Mashiach, the son of David and the son of Abraham. So verse 2. Abraham begot Isaac, Isaac begot Jacob, and Jacob begot Judah and his brethren. So we see, we know Yahushua, he sprang out of Judah. It's evident he sprang out of Judah. In Judah, it's one of those 12 tribes, Judah and his brethren. So Khan, let's get that 7 Hebrews 7:14 to line it up with that. Book of Hebrews chapter 7, verse 14. For it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah, of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood. So your Messiah, Yahushua Mashiach, was born, of the tribe of Judah. And when you read on in Matthew 1, it's going to get into, that he was from that loins and lineage of David. Acts 2 and 30, therefore being a prophet, knowing that God had sworn with an oath to him that of the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh, he would raise up Hamashiach to sit on his throne. He was referring back to what we already brought out in Psalms 132 and 11 and Luke 1 and 32. Same thing that Nathan told David, man. That Yahweh Shai, would sit on that throne. He was that everlasting one. Because Solomon, wasn't everlasting. The fruit of his loins, that offspring, from that fruit, like what we went into, and of his loins, that's talking about that ball sack. He came from the seed of man. This was the Peter's sermon. He was going into it, and then they were pricked in their hearts, and then they ended up repenting and being baptized in the name of Mashiach. When you read on, so I just wanted to line that up with it too as well, and just go into that, precept upon precept, continuing on, because that explains it too as well, right there, So let's get to verse 6. In Jesse, that root of Jesse, he came from that root of Jesse, And Jesse begot David, and David the king begot Solomon of her that had been the wife of Uriah. Verse 7, and Solomon begot Rehoboam, and Rehoboam begot Abiah, and Abiah begot Asa. And Rehoboam's mother was a heathen, which that doesn't take away nothing from Yahushua being an Israelite, man. Numbers 1 and 18, that goes off of your father. It's according, you're based off of being an Israelite according to who your father was, and that's how it is according to the Bible. Just like Moses' son, Gershom, his mother was a heathen, but he was still a Levite, man. And like Moses was. Yeah, so I'm as you keep reading on, it goes through Yahushua's lineage. In verse 16, and Jacob begot Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom was born Yahushua, who was called Hamashiach. So that's getting into it right there. Yahushua himself. And we should line that up with the book of Revelation, chapter 22. Verse 16, red letter, Yahushua speaking, I, Yahushua, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, the bright and morning star. So Yahushua is telling you, he was the one who came down in the flesh. He fulfilled this prophecy, and he's that bright and morning star. Yahushua, he's that true illuminated one. Come on. So, let's get this one as well. The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7, verse 1. I myself am a mortal man like to all, and the offspring of him that was made first of the earth. This is talking about, Adam. This Solomon speaking, of course, and he's going back to Adam. That was the first to receive the spirit, that breath of life. Continuing on, and in my mother's womb was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months, being compacted in blood of the seed of man, and the pleasure that came with sleep. And when I was born, I drew in the common air and fell upon the earth, which is of like nature, and first voice which I uttered was crying as all others do. I was nursed in swaddling clothes, and that with cares. In verse 5, for there is no king that had any other beginning of birth, for all men have one entrance into life, and the like going out. So you kind of we know verse 4, I was nursed in swaddling clothes, and that with cares, through the spirit, Solomon was prophesying of Yahushua's birth as well. Because and then verse 6 right here, for all men, as I read on to verse 6, just going into it, for all men have one entrance into life and the light going out. So it's letting you know right there that there's one way into life and one way out. And that's from a seed of a man getting into the egg of a woman, and she conceives, and then which means she is pregnant, Solomon's letting you know right there. And, so Solomon was nursed in swaddling clothes. So was Yahweh Shai. That's why he prophesied about Yahweh Shai's birth as well. This could be a reincarnation link as well, because Yahweh Shai is Solomon, a reincarnation. If he that have ears, let him hear. So this is Luke chapter 2, verse 7. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. So Yahweh Shai, he was that firstborn, like we were saying in this lesson, earlier. The firstborn of man of beast of Hamashiach, the firstborn of all creation. Let's get that. Strong's G4416. Call Yahweh Shai 144. The root. To bring forth, to produce fruit of the seed. So right there, there you go, that fruit of the seed, man. That offspring, like we're getting into, Come on. Let's get that other one as well. Firstborn. First in time and place, first in rank, so you can't, just showing, like I just showed, it's showing, that he came, from that fruit, man, from that offspring, like I was saying, and let's go down right here, to verse 4. And Yahweh Shai also went up from Galilee out of the city of Nazareth into Judea unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David. So you can, he came, he had to pay his taxes, Joseph, and it's just letting you know he was of the house and lineage of David. So Khan, yeah, like it's like I was saying, like when I just went into the earlier, a woman, that Mary, she was giving birth, also to other children as well, and people just can't understand that, and it's just showing right here, the Messiah, he's of that seed of David, and his father is too, because look at right here, it proves it, his father is of the seed of David. He had to let you know that he was of the house and lineage of David, because he was the one to bring that seed to go into the womb of Mary to fulfill prophecy of having Yahweh Shai, who came into the earth through that lineage. So Yahweh Razah, this lesson was edifying. And then we can wrap it up. Matthew chapter 26 and verse 6. Now when Yahweh Shai was in Bethany, how Simon the leper came unto a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, poured on his head as he sat at meat. When his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For his ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Yahweh Shai understood it, he said unto him, why trouble the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this that this woman had done be told for a memorial of her. And with that, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. Peace, salutations to hopeful legs scattered abroad across the four corners of the earth, learning and teaching this gospel with truth and sincerity. Shalom.